Trip to Greece, Solangelo AU, by Prittiestpivvo, Chapter 4. Nico's point of view. My eyes felt like they were stuck together with glue when I woke up. I was just so comfortable. My head was resting on something soft and warm. I felt sunlight from the window. I knew I was next to... This was bliss. I managed to pry my eyes open, squinting in the light. I heard soft breathing coming from beside me? No, it sounded like above me? I moved my line of sight up, but I could only see the roof of the plane and my hair, fluffed on my forehead. I looked down. I quite literally almost shot myself. I managed to keep my body from flinching away when I realized my head was on the shoulder of none other than Will Solus. It dawned on me that the light weight on my head was Will's head. On mine. He was clearly sleeping, his whole body relaxed. I wondered how the fuck my raging heartbeat hadn't woken him up yet, because my whole body was pounding. I heard a few quiet snickers to the right and managed to tilt my head just enough so that I could see Jason and Piper covering their mouths in an attempt to silence themselves. Failed at that though, didn't they? Thank God Percy had fallen asleep. The sugar loaf probably hit him like a truck. I glared at the pair. I then began to contemplate how I was going to free my head, because I didn't want to wake the sleeping blonde. Not that selfish. I decided the safest possible way was to move my hands to the side of his head to keep it aloft while I shuffled out of the sandwich my head was in. I heard Will's breathing change and I panicked. I quickly pulled my head away, and it was strangely similar to the adrenaline of ripping off a band-aid. My hand still held his head, so I tried to quickly lower his head in the slowest way possible. You know what I mean. Shut up. His head was back against the seat, and I had moved to put my headphones back in by the time his eyes flooded open. The sun hit his irises and gave his sky-blue eyes a pretty golden tint. I quickly turned my head away as he looked over at me. My recently calmed heartbeat fired up again, and I felt the blush on my cheeks. What I failed to notice in my gay panic distraction was a gorgeous sight of the window. The altitude we flew at provided a scene from above the clouds, which looked like a fluffy white floor as the sun set. The beams sent a beautiful light over the sky, turning it oranges, pinks, and purples. The sun was hitting straight through the window onto me, so it turned the air around me from airplane cold to spring day warm. Whoa, I heard Will breathe. I almost looked over at him. No, Nico, bad idea. There was an hour and a half until we landed, so in an attempt to connect myself with some Greek mythology, I put Disney's Heracles on the seat screen, because who doesn't love a little bit of Disney to spice up their life? The time flew by, and soon enough we had landed in Athens. It was a bit of a hassle getting off the plane, having to go to baggage claim, wait for bags, and make our way out of the airport. Despite it being 1 a.m. in this time zone, it was surprisingly warm, enough so that I had to take off the warm hoodie I had been wearing and regretted my clothing choice of sweatpants. It felt like the high temperatures in the early days of a New York summer, and since it was night, that meant it was at its low. Piper told me. I think I might melt while we're here. I glanced at Will. Maybe not just from the heat. There was unfortunately another half an hour bus ride to get to the hotel, but goddamn was it worth it. We were staying in Hotel Grand Batang, which might have been hands down the fanciest, most extraordinary thing I've ever seen. Our head coordinator, Mr. Brunner, had wheeled himself to the reception desk once we got inside, where a young woman was looking flustered at the amount of us. Once he came up with 26 key cards, I was pretty sure we had at least a whole floor booked out. Teachers handed out cards, and they talked about what to do now. Mr. Brunner handed 1 key card to Jason. Though we had just got off a long flight, we were all hungry. and since it was 5 p.m. in Manhattan, we weren't yet tired enough to deny getting some food. The teachers had told us previously that we could do whatever we wanted, so long as it was legal. They had done the itinerary and accommodation, which also had a rooftop restaurant, but we could do whatever for food. Percy, Jason, Will, and I decided to make our way up to our room on the 6th floor. Now, one thing to know about me is that I hate elevators, but there didn't seem to be any stairs, so I was just gonna have to suck it up. We stepped into an elevator, and as the thick metal doors closed, I had to restrain myself from bolting out. I took deep, steadying breaths as it began to ascend. We made it out of the elevator alive and walked down the intricate hallways of the hotel until we reached our room, room 23. Jason scanned the card until the pad turned green, and we pushed through. And holy shit, was I unprepared. Holy shit, Jason murmured, mimicking my thoughts. Whoa, Percy said, clearly bewildered. Bro, look at how comfy those beds look. There were 2 beds, possibly double beds? I don't know. On the right side of the room, and a window facing outward into a manicured bright green country yard. We decided to just dump our bags and meet the girls downstairs, then get something to eat. The restaurant was only a few blocks away, and the food was delicious. We could see the Acropolis from here as well, which looked promising. After dinner, we slowly dawdled our way back to the hotel, our eyes beginning to droop. The travel tiredness was definitely starting to hit us. We all got on the same elevator, and I again tried not to panic, parting ways when the girls got off at floor 4. Percy, Jason, Will, and I made it into the hotel room and began to change and brush our teeth and whatnot, talking about the day coming and how hot it was going to be. I had gotten last dibs on the bathroom, so once I came out, I saw Percy and Jason already in the bed closest to the window, and saw Will struggling to climb into the other bed, the sheets tucked tight. I made eye contact with Percy, and we had a silent conversation. Please don't do this to me. Too bad, so sad. Snooze you lose. Fuck you. Love you too, Neeks. Percy smiled sweetly at me, and I was really tempted to flip him off, but that would have led to unnecessary questions from the others. Will had commandeered the left side of the bed, so I plugged my phone into the wall, began to clamber into the right side. Nighty-night, Percy spoke. Don't let the Greek gods bite. Then he promptly turned off the lights, and the room fell into darkness.